At FIE, we're not just
students
and faculty.
We're not only learners
and lecturers.
We are expanding minds,
Expanding futures.
We're redefining the classroom.
We are life-changing.
eye-opening. We are a community
Driven by our values.
That wants you.
you.
Yes, you.
To join.
Hello and welcome to In the Field, a podcast from FIE, where we will be exploring all things study abroad. I'm Dr. Heidi James Dunbar, writer in residence and senior faculty, and I will be your host. Joining me today is Latoya Stroman. Latoya gained her BA in Broadcasting, Telecommunications and Mass Media from Temple University. During this time, Latoya studied abroad here in London with FIE, where she interned at Shorts TV, an experience that eventually led to a job offer, which is pretty extraordinary. After graduating, Latoya became an executive producer with production credits at some of entertainment's top networks, including HBO Max, HuLu, ABC, 20th Century Fox, Bravo, and OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. Today, Latoya, who's based in Los Angeles, serves as co-executive producer for HuLu and founder of the women's empowerment group Girl Talk Global. Girl Talk Global's mission is to share love, education, motivation, inspiration, encouragement, and travel opportunities with young girls from the inner city without resources. Their aim is to help girls recognize their worth, potential, and influence, enabling them to transform their lives for the better. Latoya, I'm so delighted to welcome you onto the podcast and to talk with you and learn about Girl Talk Global and you. So, hello.
Thank you so much for having me, Heidi. I'm so excited. Ever since you reached out, I am just so geeked. I'm just like, I couldn't wait for us to finally get a date and time because I'm just so excited. And congratulations on your podcast. I think this is awesome. I follow everything that you post and what you guys do. And I think it's an awesome tool for anybody who has questions about FIE. And I just love this podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it because it's about sharing stories and building community, right? Which is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. I know that's what you're doing in the most extraordinary way with Girl Talk Global. So we'll come to that in a moment, but I want to start with you. How did this really quite phenomenal career start? Talk me through your university and then your travel abroad and everything.
Okay. Well, it started, I was in college and I was, this is going to shock people that are probably listening to this and don't know this story. So you're getting an exclusive. But I actually went to college or university right after high school. I went to another school before I went to Temple University and I didn't finish. And then we had a fire. And with that fire, everything burned down to the ground. And I had to get a job and help contribute, financially. And I hated working. I hated working because I always felt like I was still a student. And what am I doing in the workforce? I need to be in college. I am a college student. And I had my life already planned. I was going to school for 4 years. Then I was going to graduate. And then I was going to go to graduate school for 4 years. And then I was going to have my master's. And then I was going to get my PhD. Like, I had my life planned. And sometimes, how many people listening know that you can have your life planned, but God can have a totally different plan and you got to get on board. So anyway, I was at work and I was working and I had a number of jobs, but my last job was a real estate job. I was working at Cushman and Wakefield. It's a commercial real estate, huge international, it's global. And the industry crashed. And I'm thinking, what? I thought that I was going to build my career being a broker. I was being trained by the most amazing broker. My boss at that time was one of the highest brokers in the world. So I was learning from the best. And the industry crashed. And I just felt like, where is my life going? what is happening? I was actually very discouraged. And I remembered this commercial that I saw, and I didn't think it was real. But I remember this commercial I saw, and it said, you can come to college and go for free if you've been impacted by the real estate industry. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. So I called. I said, excuse me, I just want to know, is this true? And the person on the phone was so annoyed with me because I was asking so many questions. And he said, yes, it's true. If you've been impacted. So I got my stuff and I went down, and it was a Community College of Philadelphia. And I went down there and I said, well, I just called and I just want to know if this is true. And they said, yes, if you've been impacted, if you get a letter from your job stating that you were laid off due to this industry. And I went right across the street, went to the job, got my letter and came back, and I enrolled in college. The problem was I had so many credits, and they were like, well, this is a lot of credits for a community college. We don't know. And I said, listen, whatever I need to do. So I was able to get my credits transferred, and they had a program with Temple that I was able to, roll right into Temple. I talk about my life changing because it actually really did. My life as a student, I felt like came alive. Like maybe when I went to college the first time, things didn't work out. That wasn't my school of choice. And it wasn't a good fit. But once I got to Temple, actually Community College of Philadelphia, I'm not going to front. They were amazing too. And I met some amazing professors there as well. But when I got to Temple, I was able to start moving around. And I remember the admissions officer, she was interviewing me, and she said, why should we accept you into our program now? Because when you graduated high school, we gave you a scholarship and you did not take advantage of it. So why should we bring you to our school now? And I said, if you accept me this time, I am focused, I am serious, and my name will reign supreme through this school. I will make this school so proud. You will be so happy that you accepted me this time. And she said, well, we're going to give you a chance. And I said, I'm telling you. And I think from that moment on, it's been, I have not stopped, and I won't stop because I'm so grateful for the opportunity. So I go to Temple, I'm studying communications, and I'm loving it. I didn't even know I loved communications because as a kid, I wish someone would have told me that talking a lot is actually a career. You're actually a journalist in training. So I'm now studying this career. I'm studying communications, mass media, broadcasting. And Heidi, I was in the Annenberg Hall, which is the School of Communications. It's their main room. And there was like a lot of different setups. And one of the setups was University, our School of Communications, study abroad, right? And I'm looking at that sign, and I think that there was a moment where I was just staring because I thought, I wonder if I will have an opportunity. And this is the exclusive part I was talking about, because I don't think that people knew I was as old, like I was an older student, and that I was a transfer student. But I'm looking over at the girl sitting at the table, and she's looking back at me, and then she smiles. And when she smiled, it was so welcoming that I said, okay. And she's doing like this. She's saying, come over. And a part of me was just saying, why? Because I'm not going to get accepted. This is not for me. It's a dream that won't come true. And I walked over to that table, and she gave me the application. She started giving me all the information. And I was working in the study away office, like the international office. I was working in it as a student worker. And Erin Palmer, who was over the program, she said, apply. And that's how it all started. I applied, and not only did I get accepted, but I got a scholarship, a few scholarships, because that was the next thing. How am I going to pay for it? But I was accepted, and I got a scholarship, and boom, my life changed once I got accepted. FIE accepted me into the program, and I moved to London in 2011. And I loved it so much. I stayed a few months. After the program was over, I did not leave right away. I stayed.
That's incredible.
Um, yeah, it's a really incredible story, and it's a story that molded uh, my career. It's molded the shape of my life. It's molded my communication. I always wanted an international. Have you ever like I was a kid who knew I wanted to travel. My first my first time out of the country, I was 14 in high school, and I was accepted by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. We were selected. I was one of 14 kids selected out of thousands of kids to go to Russia. And I lived in Novgorod, Russia. And I didn't live around any other American students. It's not like they took all the American students and we were all together. No, I lived with the family. Anya was the student. She was 14 as well. And Galina was her mom. And her mom did not speak English. So I feel like even at 14, I'm learning how to communicate with someone. This is not by a textbook. This is, I am living with a family, learning how to communicate with someone who does not speak English. I mean, I think from that experience, I started to learn there's nothing that I can't do. Like if I conquered that, there's nothing that I cannot do.
I don't know many 14-year-olds that would be up for that could do that could take that on. I mean, I don't know many adults that would be willing to do that. That's brilliant.
And and like during that time, there was no social media. There was no I even think about, I visited this conversation with my mom, who my mom is incredible. I love my mom. Shout out to you, Mom, Melanie Stroman. I love my mom. But I said, Mom, what were you thinking? Like, you trusted these people to take me to Russia? And she said, I did. She said, I couldn't take you. I wanted you to have this experience, and your school was trustworthy. You were selected. There was a criteria that you had to meet. They vetted you. And so I knew the type of program you were going with. I knew the leaders, and I knew that this would be what you needed in your life. And I'm telling you that it takes a good parent to see that, My mom had never been to Russia. I don't even think my mom had been international at that point in her life ever. I don't think she hadn't even been out of the country. So and she talks to the parents now in my program, letting them know, but they have a lot more security now than I think we did. I did not communicate with my mom. I think maybe one phone call that we did, like a group call, we all called our parents, but it's not like I had a phone that I could call, a cell phone or social media or anything. It was just, I was in another country. I learned to journal, write down my feelings and my thoughts. I wrote letters, but Novgorod, Russia. And I took the boat bus. I went to school. I went, we did different things. And that experience, I think, grew me up, but it also taught me this is life in another country. I'm in a program that allows me to be in another country, and for me, that's learning how to foster your education to get international, to do things international. So for everything that we teach, it comes from a life experience. It comes from, I'm not just telling you this, I've lived this, or I can bring someone else in that have lived it, that can talk to you about it.
Yeah. Tell me more about Girl Talk Global, because so much of this is in this.
Right. And I think that, so when I got the opportunity to study abroad through Temple and FIE in London, it opened something up about me. I had already started Girl Talk. I started Girl Talk in 2008. So it was a few years that we were already doing the program, but we were doing it locally. And I told the girls, I said, listen, every opportunity that I have, and I know sometimes when you tell people things, they hear you, but I don't know if they necessarily believe you. I think you have to prove it, right? And I told them, everywhere I go, I will always bring girl talk. I will always introduce you to anything I'm being introduced to. I promise you, I will never leave you out. And they thought, yeah, right, Miss Latoya, yeah, right. And I think that some people were disappointed when I moved to London. I think some of the girls were disappointed when I moved to LA. The program is so big. I brought the program to LA, brought the program to London. Here's the thing. We have to be exposed in order to provide exposure. You have to go out in order to even bring things back. So that was a tough lesson that I had to learn, but I learned it and I said, you know what? You might be mad at me now, but later you'll understand why I had to do it. And it's like being a parent. Like, I don't have any physical children, but the girls of Girl Talk are my kids. So I have to do what's best for my children. So Girl Talk Global, it was actually Girl Talk Philly. I created in 2008 to help young girls. And my sister, Lauren, who is also a FIE alum and Temple alum, she's younger than me, much younger. I have two younger sisters, Nikki Star and Lauren, but Lauren is much younger than me. And her friends were at our house. And I guess me, my mom, and my other sister, Nikki, I think we were just talking, just having girl talk. I didn't know that girl talk was a thing until this situation, because I grew up with girl talk. I grew up with this. So we were having this chat, and I don't know what we were talking about, but I think maybe boys and got men, and I don't know, but it must have been a juicy conversation, because Lauren's friends said to her, they were whispering, and they said, "Oh my goodness, you guys talk about that? I can never talk to my mom about that, or I can never say that." And Lauren told us after they left, she told us. And I said, well, what were we talking about? It was just, we laughed. We thought, what? Like, doesn't everybody talk like this at home? And then we discovered they don't. I didn't know that until that pivotal moment. So we got together. I said, okay, we're going to have a session. And we prepared to have a session, and we invited speakers. And I didn't know how it was going to go. We set up, Heidi, maybe like 50 girls I thought was going to come. And it was only maybe 14 or 15 showed up that day. And I said, okay, we had a time set, and the time that it was supposed to end, they were still there. And then an hour goes by, and then they're still there. And I said, they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. And that's how Girl Talk was birthed, literally from sharing stories. So, we believe that sharing stories saves lives, because all the stories that this whole Girl Talk Global phenomenon has came because my mom shared stories with us. And, now in my professional career, I am an executive producer. I am a storyteller. I am a filmmaker. I am someone who wants to tell compelling stories that land, that impact you. Maybe you never thought this way, or maybe you didn't know that person exists out here in the world, or maybe your heart has never been impacted that way. So in the same way as in my profession, is in the same way as in Girl Talk. We share stories in a way to hopefully grasp you, to hopefully, make you see, help you see outside of your neighborhood, because maybe you only see, why do we bring the girls to London? Because London is a country that doesn't have gun violence, because there's no guns. But if you grow up in a country and you hear this all the time, you actually think that's normal. But let me bring you to somewhere it's not. Let me introduce you to something where the news is different, because you think that news is reported a certain way. But if I bring you somewhere else, if I take the girls to Sonoma Valley, California, the news is reported much differently. You know why? Because people are in the vineyards. They're making wine. They're tending to their farms. It's such a different life. So we value environment changes. Environment changes are necessary. I don't care who you are in the world. Environment changes are necessary, because if you only know your own environment, you're not open to anything else, and you don't even understand it. So we take the negative, maybe you only see violence, maybe you're in a home, it's a lot of arguing. Maybe it's no teaching about finances. It's just always debt, whatever it is. And we try to shift it. How can we shift it? What can we do to help? So bringing girls out of their communities in order to bring them back to change the communities. And that's what I do. I don't do anything. I don't ask anybody to do anything that I don't do. I mean, I go back to the communities that I was raised in. I go back to dangerous situations in order to save a kid's life. You know, we've had to go, like if a parent is in prison and we're trying to get a girl a passport, I'm like, okay, what do we have to do? Who do we have to call? What do we need to do to make this happen? Because you sitting in a prison should not imprison your child. We need you to sign off on this so that your kid can grow up and get some experiences, because not all bad people are bad that's in prison, but sometimes your choices, bad decision making, not having anyone in your space to show you or teach you something different. Girl Talk Global, literally, Girl Talk, the whole thing was created in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in West Philadelphia. And we had a community center that used to allow us to come and have our sessions. So we didn't have to pay anything. We just brought the girls, and we dress, our sessions are dressed up like a wedding. It's like fancy decorations, it's invitations, because we want our girls to understand this is for you. And sometimes if you're new to Girl Talk, you'll walk in and we've heard the girls say, that room is not for us. We got to find our room. And then our host starts saying, no, it is for you. This is for you. And they're thinking, what? These decorations are for me? These fancy plates are for me? And it is. Come, sit, enjoy, dine with us. Grow with us, learn from us. Because if we change your environment, like bringing someone into a pretty beautiful setting, right? And sitting them down, they're going to listen to you a little bit more, because now you're treating me like I'm royalty. You're treating me like I'm worth it. And that's what it is. Our girls are worth it. They're worth fighting for. They're brilliant. They're lovely, but they need to be reminded, and they need help. They need help learning that. Because if you have low self-esteem, or you don't have confidence, or you don't know how to speak, or you're not good. A lot of the parents, they say, my daughter is so shy. And then once they come into our programs, they're like, wow, what happened to my daughter? She was so shy. And that makes us feel good, because that means that they've gotten something out of the program.
If we don't have someone modeling things for us, if we don't have someone to look up to or even know the stories, it's impossible. Not impossible. It's very difficult to imagine your way out differently, right? Like, you need models. You need someone saying, this is the way, come this way. You can do this.
Yes. Listen, we need models, because representation matters. So if you are out there and I see you, I'm like, wow, oh my God, Heidi can do this. I can do it, because now I've seen you physically do it. And now you're speaking with me, you're telling me. And something that I'm really, really big on, and this is me being a mentor, I'm a mentor in Girl Talk, but also outside of Girl Talk. I have many people that I mentor. But one of the things that I love about my strategy and my process in mentoring is I'm not just a talker. I will get on that phone and call and show you the way and guide you along the process, because it's not enough to say, go to the door. Sometimes people need to know, what are the steps to get to that door? Like, what did you do? And how did you do it? If I'm going to give you a piece of advice, it's not just going to be saying it. I'm going to actually show you how to do it. Because I just feel like we have a lot that say it, but we don't have a lot of people that teach us and show us the way. So I like to be that way in my personal life, with my personal people that I mentor, but also in Girl Talk. Like, we are going to show you. And a big part of that is the study abroad. Why are we taking people abroad? And even study away, because we call study away domestic travel. But why do we do that? Because now, instead of just booking you, look up a passport, read about it in your textbook. I'm going to show you what it takes to get a passport. And we teach them, what is a passport? Where can you get it? Where can it take you? So it's funny, whenever we travel and they're going through customs, they love to ask the people for a stamp because now they want to get their passport stamp. Mm-hmm. And our study abroad program, I like to say, Girl Talk Global we're an appetizer. We're going to give you that appetizer because our goal is for you to take that appetizer and be so geared up that now you're going to look for a college that has study abroad opportunities and you're going to go for that 4-course meal. Or if you decide not to go to college, choose a career that's going to allow you to travel. Get with some friends that's going to travel. There's many different ways to do international things, but the goal is to not be stagnant. Don't be stale. Don't just be in your own neighborhood. And speaking from experience, I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In Philly, we are neighborhood territorial based. So if you live in North Philly, you stay in North Philly. If you live in West Philly, you stay in West Philly. If you live in Uptown, West Oak Lane, whatever your neighborhood, in London, it would kind of be like your borough, your territory. It's like you stay in that territory. And what we're saying is learn something because you might have more in common than you think. But if I'm being trained constantly, stay in this hood, go do everything in this particular hood, neighborhood, no, branch out. So we like to say that our girls are Girl Talk Global ambassadors. They're international world leaders. They are girls who are traveling. They are on the move. And then when they come back, they're excited, Heidi. They're like, oh my gosh, I've been to London. Oh my gosh, I've been to Paris. And so we got to Paris. I said, well, in Paris, they say Patty. So when they come back, they say, well, do you know that you're not supposed to say Paris and it's Patty? I just love the education. I love the growth. I love breaking and beating the statistics because I was what they would call a statistic. My sisters, we were statistics. People said, your mom got pregnant at 14, you're going to get pregnant at 14. Well, no, don't put that on me. My mother at 14, I probably was in 12 different programs. I had no time. My mother made sure I was busy. I couldn't even breathe. I was so busy, because she wanted to make sure that I was not pregnant at 14.
Your mother just sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. My mother is the great. She's great.
And you're great. This is just extraordinary.
Thank you.
Because it's not easy.
Yeah, my mother is great. It's not easy. And I think that when I was growing up, I didn't know what it took to raise me, right? I'm the oldest, I just used to say, Mom, I want this. I want to do this. I want to do this, I understand she probably was under so much pressure, because so my mom and dad were young parents, but my dad passed away when I was 14. So, and even when he was living, I love my dad, rest in peace. I love my dad. Oh. But even when he was living, it was still kind of like, I knew he loved me, but my mom still took the bulk of everything. And they weren't together. They were young teen parents, so it was different. But being a single parent is tough, and trying to make it work with one kid is tough, but multiple children is even tougher. And I think that I give my mom so much kudos because to think outside the box, to have kids like us, my mother raised us, we were allowed to act. We were allowed to talk because in her generation and her coming up, she wasn't allowed to talk. She grew up in a generation where they said, be seen, but not heard. So they didn't even really have a voice. My mother said, you're going to have a voice. You guys have a voice. Let me know when something is wrong. Let me know when you're not okay. So we talked, and our conversations were at the table. We had breakfast together. We had dinner. When we came home, when we went to school, she was a part of our lives. We came home from school. She was a part of our lives. So we weren't allowed to like go to school in one outfit and come home in something different. She would say, well, where did you get that from? Who gave you that? You're not allowed to take anything from anybody. You're not, like, she was involved. I used to say, wow, she's so overbearing. That's what I used to say when I was coming up. You are overbearing. Like, you are so strict. Like, you are in my business. Now, older, I'm saying, no, she was a parent. She was a good parent. We need parents to be in your daughter's business, in your kids' business. You need to be in their rooms. They don't need to have things that you don't know about, because that allows you time. So my mom's strategy was around that table, you know? So a lot of our conversations, even at Girl Talk, is around the table. We get around that dinner table or that lunch table, and we're going to talk about it, because you're going to be more prone to talk about something when you feel comfortable. So let's get you some food. Let's talk about it, and let's see what's going on. And my mother was great. I said, Mom, you really were a detective. You know, you really were. You know how to dig. But she would say, how was your day? And what happened in your day? And I mean, she is the detective of all detective of parents. She would get something out of you. You don't even realize you're giving her all the information, but you're giving her all the information that she needs to put the whole day in the story together. But yeah, she's a great parent, and I try to tell other parents, we're not perfect, my sisters and I, in no way. But this model that my mother had of storytelling, she was upfront. She told us about her life. She would say, this is how I ended up being a single parent. This is how I ended up getting pregnant at 14. This is what I got into. She just left nothing off limits. So because she introduced us to so much and told us, by the time my friends and things were talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, my mom already told me about that. I'm not going to do drugs. I don't need to know about that. I know where that leads. You know, like I think that the parents that don't talk or don't know how to talk, that's sometimes where you lose your kids, because they think that you've never done this before, or you've not been in the area before. But if they know, wait a minute, my parent was actually faced with this, that will start some dialogue. Now, for parents that don't know how to do that, that's why programs like Girl Talk exist. So your kid can come in a room and talk about something and get feedback on something that maybe you don't know how to talk about.
Yeah. Because where there's silence, there's shame. And where there's silence, there's misinformation.
Yes.
And I think, I mean,
right.
I have a very, very similar in lots of ways kind of experiences, and just think the worst thing in the world is other teenagers leading other teenagers. This is not a good thing. You need adults that you trust, who, like you,
it's not okay.
Yeah, and who, like you say, don't pretend that their life, they never made any mistakes, who are like, listen, I'll tell you some stories. I'll tell you what it was like.
Yep.
You can make a different choice. I love you. Make a different choice. You're worth something so much more than this choice. Yeah, I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. And you know, when I was a teenager and just meeting a lot of teenagers every single day, the teenagers, you know, listen, we all got advice for our friends. But anybody listening to this that is a teenager, your friends do not know what's best for you in your life. They are a teenager just like you. They're trying to figure life out just like you. You need mentors. You need advice from wise people who have wisdom in an area that you don't. And decisions are so important. When you're making a decision, that decision can impact your life for the rest of your life. I think that's something else that, you know, my mom used to say to me. And I told her, I said, listen, I used to say things and I was scared. You know, my mother would say, listen, you could get pregnant on the first try. So that's different from someone saying, don't have sex. No, my mother would use a story or a phrase. She would say things like, once you are a parent, that's something you can never give back. So think about it. She would say, listen, you can pick that outfit and put that outfit on. And when you take it off, you can never wear it again. But when you become a mother, you are a mother for the rest of your life. These are things that you're going to think about, right? When you're placed in compromising situations, you're going to say, wait a minute, am I really ready for this? You know what I mean? So decisions are so important. You can choose a decision, pick a decision. But if that decision has consequence, you can't choose your consequence. You don't know what comes after that. If it's a bad decision, you don't know what comes all with that bad decision. So it's very important to aim to make good decisions and good choices. Dr. King said, it's always right to do what's right. And that's something that I live by. It's okay to do the right thing, even when everybody else is doing something else. That's like the story of my life.
So if anyone wants to join you or wants to find out more, I will put the link to the website there. But are there any other ways that you're encouraging people to reach out to you?
Yes. Well, we have a website, www.girltalkglobal.org. And when you go to our website, you find out like a little bit about us, our programs, how you can donate. We have a donations page. We do a lot of things throughout the year. And also our girls, you know, our community, they can't afford to study abroad and they can't afford to travel. So we do a lot of fundraising. So we're always campaigning. We have another campaign that's about to roll out for our 2025 group that's going to be traveling. So there's always ways to donate. And then there is an email there for people to connect with us. And then there's something else called Join a Sisterhood, where you can actually join as maybe you're one of the young girls that you want to be a part of it, or maybe you're a volunteer, or you're just someone who wants more information. You can actually hit Join a Sisterhood and you can send us a message and say, hey, I love what I heard about Girl Talk. I want to volunteer. Or, you know, the next time you come to London, we want to meet up. Or if you come to Africa, we want, you know, whatever it is, you can join a sisterhood and you can be a part of it. And I cannot say enough about how much I love FIE. Foundation for International Education has changed my life. I love the program. I love the faculty. I love the staff. I love the resident directors. Like our resident director who lived with us, she loved us. You know, she let us live our lives, but she was available for anything we needed. You know, I love that they have their finger on the pulse. When you have a program that they know what they're doing and they have the resources to do it, you stick with it. That's how I feel about FIE. From the housing to the internships to the preparation, everything is in place. To the professors, you know, the professors know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. I was worried. I was like, are we going to be in a classroom all day? Like, I'm going to be in another country. And when I got there and they said, no, our classrooms are outside. We go out in the community. I said, wow, you know, some of my professors would say, meet me at this park, or you had to navigate and you had to figure out how to get there on a tube or on the bus. And I loved it. I just felt like the program prepared me and it gave my family and my mother especially a sense of organization when you're sending your kid away to any program. But you want to make sure they're organized. You want to make sure that they're safe. And I felt so safe. I lived in Manson Place. I did all of my stuff at Metrogate. You know, when FIE sponsors, do you know that we would not be able to do Girl Talk Global London without FIE? Let me just make that very clear. FIE sponsors our housing. Beautiful, gorgeous housing, Hyde Park Gate, right across the street from Kensington Palace. Do you know what that gives our girls? They are like, and even our chaperones, they're like, oh. And I say, listen, when we walk out the door, we're right across the street and we walk right across the street and they can see the palace. It just does something. You know, our neighbor was the embassy, the Netherlands embassy. It's like, what? So FIE, I want them to know how much I appreciate them because they gave me a sense of hope. They gave me a sense. I mean, my internship through FIE was at Shorts International. Carter Pilcher was the CEO, and Jan was my supervisor. She was over production. Do you know that to this day, I am still in touch with them? Do you know that Carter, when we bring the girls to London, with FIE being one of our incredible partners, that I'm able to take the girls to where I interned and they meet Carter. That's building a relationship. But I got that internship through FIE. You know what I mean? Through sitting down with my internship coordinator and talking about what I wanted to do. And they were doing production. So, all of these things are about building relationships and keeping relationships. And I love my relationship with FIE. I think this is an amazing, beautiful, well organized machine. This machine runs, and I will always support it. And I'm grateful. I'm just, they're family. When I go to FIE, it's like I'm home. I go to every floor. I'm speaking to everyone. I'm hugging people. If it's someone there that I don't know, I'm saying, welcome to the family. It's like, it's a family affair. It's a family affair. So I'm grateful for my experience and my time at FIE. It almost feels like yesterday, honestly. Like 2011 is when I studied abroad. And I remember every part of my experience. And now they are one of the sponsors that create a life-changing experience for every girl that I'm able to bring. So, Heidi, you're my family now. You're family.
I love this. I love that. Thank you so much. Do you know what? We're grateful for you, and we're grateful for all our students. And I have loved talking with you. I could just keep on and keep on talking to you. But yes. I know you're a busy woman. You're an executive producer. You're running this incredible global program. And I'm just like, okay, tell me more. But I know I have to let you go. But thank you so much. And thank you for everything you're doing and for sharing that with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me and for allowing me this platform. I'm so proud of you and this platform. And thank you because you might not know that you are a part of representation. You are a part of, somebody that we're able to say, listen, look, Dr. Heidi, ask her, how did she get that doctor? Like, you're someone that we talk about as well. So I'm really proud of you. And thank you for this platform. And thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking that my program and my story was worthy enough to even be shared. I'm so incredibly grateful for anytime anybody wants to interview me and get to know me. And I'm always here. I want to make that clear too. If anybody is listening, they're saying, wow, I would love a mentor, like Miss Latoya. Miss Latoya is available. I try to, if I get an email, I try to reach out always with a response. And if I can't help, I'll try to find a resource to help. I know where I come from, and I know who needs the help. And I help all kinds of kids, even though I am a Black lady that comes from the inner city, comes from the hood. I help all students, no matter what color they are or where they come from, because we all have something in common. So I'm here and I'm available.
You're wonderful. Thank you so much, Latoya.
You're wonderful too. Thank you.
I'm sure you could hear how excited and inspired I was by that conversation. Thank you so much for listening. To learn more about our faculty courses and programs, visit our website, www.fie.org.uk. And if you've enjoyed this episode, check out our others wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. I will, of course, also be sharing the link to Girl Talk Global. FIE provides life-changing study abroad experiences in the UK, Ireland and Spain. As a non-profit educational organisation, we are passionately invested in making a difference for our students as the future global leaders of tomorrow and the field of international education as a whole. The FIE podcast is a creative and academic space for exploring everything, the people, the places and opportunities that make your experience so valuable and exciting.
FIE, we're here to help you
Unlock a wider,
brighter future.